Hey everybody, it's Asif at ThinkAsif.ca, and today we have Irene Lee from Remax Realtron, and she is a realtor that works not specifically, but heavily in the new construction market. So welcome, Irene. Thank you for joining today. So tell me about what's going on in the new construction market.
So the new construction market, so I work generally in the condo market, and mainly focus on the downtown GTA area.
Okay.
So this market has exploded in the last year, ever since the prices for the detached homes have gone up.
Okay.
I would say prices have gone up almost 30% from last year, January, till now. And it's almost impossible. No, I won't say impossible, but it's very difficult to have access to these projects for the public. So you really need to be working with an agent who has a relationship with the builder, who has VIP or platinum access. Otherwise, the way that pre-construction works is this. The builders or the developers, they will introduce the project to a number of platinum agents, people who they have worked with in the past, giving us an opportunity sort of as a thank you for having worked with them in the past, to bring our clients their product. After we have about a week to sell or to present this opportunity to our clients, they will open it up to another group of agents, the VIP agents. Okay. Other agents that have worked with them in the past, but maybe a little bit newer, or they've done a little bit fewer. It just is sort of case by case.
Okay.
And then after that, they will open it up to the public.
And by then the prices have gone up a bit.
Every single time they open it up, the prices do go up.
Okay.
However, in the last year, it's very, very seldom do you see it go even to the VIP level. So it will sell out. Last year, I believe in the spring, there were projects that were selling out over 2 days. People were it was a buying frenzy over condominiums. So the builders were able to, I guess, supply and demand. You want to raise the prices accordingly. So the prices were going up, I would say, almost on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Yeah. The first batch of clients would purchase, and then the next week the prices would go up $10,000.
Oh wow!
And then the next week it would go up another $10,000. So
that's hefty. Yeah. Okay. And when you say downtown, define downtown in terms of the new construction condos. Where?
So I generally specialize in investments.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't really choose a neighborhood per se. I really look for the best opportunity for my investors and myself. What I mean by that is areas that rent very well. And even in those areas, there are projects that are more expensive than others. So for me, I'm not looking for projects that are, have all the bells and whistles. I'm looking for value for my investors.
Okay.
So when I mean downtown or GTA area, I guess I'm really focusing in those areas because the rentability is very, very high in those areas. We can buy the same type of condo outside the GTA for much less, but the probability of it remaining vacant is higher. And every month that it's vacant, we're losing money.
So from a downtown standpoint, you're talking about south of where, east of where, west of where? So Yonge and Eglinton is one of my favorite spots. Okay.
Because it's about 90% renters.
So you even consider Yonge and Egg as downtown? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that area, and I'm going as far east as Leslieville.
Okay.
Now, and on the west side to Dufferin.
Oh, as far as Dufferin. Okay.
Yes.
So even Liberty Village and those regions as well. Okay.
Yes. Actually, Liberty Village is one of the best areas for rentability.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of people.
Why is that?
I feel like there was a boom in Liberty Village. Okay, I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago is when the vacancy in that area. So all of the pre-construction in that area closed around the same time. And a lot of us were worried, thinking there's going to be a lot of vacancies because there are so many units that are going to be available. But that's when I learned that clustering is actually really important when it comes to purchasing in different areas. If you buy an investment in an area, let's say I don't want to say intersections because I'm going to be isolating some of the projects, but
Mm-hmm.
there's an area where it's already sort of gentrified,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a great location, and the builder builds one building there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it comes to close and occupancy, you get our keys. There isn't that sort of hype about living in that neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Liberty Village, because there was so much advertising, there
Mm-hmm.
are so many, units for lease, everybody was wanting to live there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say for Liberty Village, when we had our units available, we had 3 or 4 offers at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It started bidding wars in that area.
Mm-hmm.
It became that spot that young professionals,
Okay.
people outside of the GTA, it was affordable as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I think that's probably why it was an area that did very well for our investors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from a pricing standpoint, your everyday consumer, they kind of think of how much does a 1-bedroom go for? How much does a
Mm-hmm.
2-bedroom go for? So let's say your average 1-bedroom is what, 600 square feet nowadays, or is it
No.
actually? I'm totally off. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does that look like now?
So we're looking at, there are 1-bedrooms that are about 420 square feet. The smallest 1-bedroom that I sold was 385 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let's say your average 1-bedroom size goes, what, 400, 500 square feet?
Let's say 450 to 500. 500 is where we would like to be,
Okay.
but now we're starting to see 450.
And what does that
420.
price look like? Ballpark. Because I know
Ballpark.
it ranges from area to area.
Right. If we're lucky, 400. That's very, very lucky.
Okay.
400,000.
Okay.
But right now, for a 1-bedroom in the pre-construction world, we're looking at about 450 to start. 450,000.
So if I wanted a 1-bedroom in the downtown area,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not getting more than 500 square feet if I'm lucky, and it's going to cost me almost $500,000.
Yes, but not really,
Wow.
because
Okay.
I'm thinking investment, right? So
Okay.
because 80% of it is mortgaged, we have to remember
Yeah.
that we're only putting 20% down. So between 350,000 to 450,000,
Mm-hmm.
it's really only $20,000. more.
Okay.
That's the way that we have to look at it as an investment.
So
Yeah.
tell me the benefit of getting a new construction property for an investment versus a resale.
Okay. It really depends what the objective is.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you're purchasing to... The answer for this was a lot easier last year when the prices were a little lower than they are now.
Mhm.
But I guess one of the benefits is really that we have time to put the deposits down. The deposit structure is extended.
Mhm.
If you buy a resale, we need to put down the 20 or 25% that the banks or the lenders require
Mhm.
right away. Whereas for a pre-construction, we have, depending on the builder's incentives, we have a year, maybe 2 years to put down 15 to 20%.
Mhm.
And then on occupancy, which is generally 4 to 5 years from the date of purchase,
Mhm.
we put down the remainder of 5% or 10%. Sometimes if, market is strong, lenders will allow us to only put 20%, which we've already done. So
Okay.
it allows us to sort of plan for this investment.
Okay.
If we're not able to do it right away, we still know that we're working towards an investment. That's one of, I think, the biggest benefit of going with pre-construction.
So being able to stretch out that
Mhm.
deposit structure.
Right. And the other thing, though, sorry,
ahead.
one of the more important things, and this is why I'm sort of on the fence right now because I am testing this out more.
Mhm.
But what happens for investments is all of the savvy investors will purchase on the pre-construction at the very lowest price.
Mhm.
And then when it comes to market, we all have the same costs. So the rents are going to cover our costs that we incurred on the purchase at the lowest price.
Mhm.
Now, as an investor, if I'm going to buy it 4 or 5 years later, after it has appreciated, well, my costs are going to go up because
Mhm.
I've bought it for more money, right?
Yeah.
The mortgage. So even though gross we're making money,
Mhm.
or net we're making money,
Mhm.
we're going to be cash flow negative.
Yeah.
Right? So in terms of the investment side, it just made more sense to buy on the pre-construction where you buy it at the lowest price.
Mhm.
And you never feel like you've missed out on the
Mhm.
appreciation, and your costs will always be covered.
Gotcha.
But because of the prices that have gone up in the last year, I've sort of been testing the pre-construction units that were sold 4 or 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
that they received the keys maybe last year, been on the market for about a year,
Mm-hmm.
we're starting to find that we can, it's not easy to find them, but we can find maybe 1 or 2 that are out there that purchasers or landlords are willing to let go of because of the rent control that has come into play last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're finding 1 or 2 gems that we can buy that we will be cash flow positive.
Okay.
So
In the long run, I would say that doing a new construction or pre-construction
Mhm.
is great if you want to, manage your deposit, but also from an appreciation standpoint, because
Mhm.
4 to 5 years later, as you mentioned it, that's a long period of time, and
Mhm.
you will gain appreciation because we have the population coming in.
That's right.
So it's there to support it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the pitfalls? And we don't have to get into too many, but give me one major pitfall you find with getting a new construction property, something that maybe your average Joe just doesn't know.
So when we're buying pre-construction, there are a lot of closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, some people find that it may be sneaky or builders are trying to put it into, but every single pre-construction project, every single real estate out there had these closing costs that somebody had to incur at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing pre-construction, development levies, we need to ensure that we cap those development levies, the present and the future.
Okay.
Right? Some people don't realize that there are 2 different
Mm-hmm.
levies. There are also education levies, park levies.
Mm-hmm.
Some builders like to have statues in front of the building. That also comes into the levies.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are these small costs that if you are working with an agent who is specialized in the pre-construction world, they will know to cap these sorts of things for you.
Mm-hmm.
For myself, because I work with a group of investors, we have a little bit of pull because we will say we have 20 of us.
Mm-hmm.
We had a builder once say, no, we're not going to cap the levies for you. And we all walked at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you really look at these condos as an investment and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
do not get emotionally attached.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to walk away when you realize that the investment value isn't there.
Gotcha.
So those things, the costs at the very end, there's also the HST that you
Yes.
need to pay as an investor.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that a lot of purchasers don't realize, or
Mhm.
even agents don't know. I think we're becoming more educated about that sort of thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But there is the HST you need to pay. And then if you buy a condo that is priced over, say, $450,000, there's a luxury portion
I
that
didn't know
you
that.
don't receive back as well.
I didn't know that.
That's why we try to generally stay as low as possible.
Gotcha.
The more expensive, like the $1 million condos, you are going to be paying an HST that you're not receiving back from the government.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you, when a consumer sits with you and an investor,
Mhm.
you'll actually walk them through all these things and
Yes.
you'll educate them on all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, you know what? Thank you so much for joining us today and talking about this. There's so much more to talk about, and I'm sure you're going to be back. So thank you, Irene. If you guys want any information from Irene, at the end of the video clip, there's going to have all of her information. You could reach out to her, or you can contact me and I'll get you in touch with her. So thank you very much.
Thank you.